welcome back to The Boozy Bookworm. The book we're reviewing today is Verity by Colleen Hoover, and I don't know why I'm cupping underneath because there's nothing to cup. And of course, the wine that I will be drinking this evening is a Apothic White, and it is it's a 5 out of 5. Pretty sweet, not too bad. I don't know, it's really good. It's wine. I don't know. Does it really match? I suppose not. Except for Lowen, the main character, reminds me of like I don't know, I just feel like if she were a wine, she'd be a white wine. The book opens up in Manhattan with Lowen, and she is right behind a guy who fell and got ran over by a car, so she's like splattered in blood. And so she gets stopped by a guy, and he's like, "Are you okay? Yeah, like let's I'll help you." And he like brings her into a place and like into a bathroom and like cleans her up and gives her his shirt. He's like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. My mom died. Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's fine. My twin daughters died. It's fine." And she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, have a good day." And so she was taking care of her, and so this is her first time out of the house, and so she's not off to a really great start. But she's out because she's an author, and I almost said her client, her literary agent, I think, but yeah, he's her literary, he calls her in because he's got a proposition for her. Lo and behold, yeah. Lowen gets in the elevator with the guy who gave her the shirt. And wouldn't you know, as the fates would have it, or as fate would have it, Lowen is there for the exact same reason as the mystery man whose name is Jeremy Crawford. Anyway, so Lowen gets in the room with Corey, and Corey's like, "How you doing?" And she's like, "Eh." Corey used to date Lowen briefly, and then they just had on and off sex for a while because Corey didn't actually want Lowen in the way that he thought he did because he fell in love with her writing. Jeremy comes in with all his agents, and it turns out that Jeremy is the husband of Verity Crawford, who is like this huge, well-known author. And it turns out Verity just got in a car accident and like is now like in a coma, but not really in a coma. Like she just doesn't, she can't move, and she's just doesn't. So because she can't write, she was in the middle of this like really great series, and from the villain's perspective, and everyone loves it, but she can't write it anymore, so she needs someone to co-author it with her to finish it. Jeremy's here to get Lowen to co-write the book for Verity to finish the last 3 books in the series. Lowen's like, I don't really do this because she's like super shy and like kind of a loner in my mind. She doesn't like to do press releases or interviews or anything like that. Like she just writes books and puts them out there, but it's like a lot of money and she needs the money. So she goes with it, right? So they increase the amount she gets paid and she does it. But now she has to go to the Crawford household because she needs to get the notes and whatnot. And so Jeremy told her like, "Hey, like it's totally cool. Like you might have to stay a couple days. Like going through Verity's office could be a lot." So Lowen shows up and she's been shown the office, and so she starts going through things. Of course, she also meets Crew, who is Jeremy and Verity's son. He's like 5 and super adorable. Love him. But so she's going through the office and she's finding the books, and she hasn't even read, here's the other thing, she has not even read any of Verity's books. Like she just knows of her, she knows she's great, and that's it. So she's not even familiar. So she has to start from literal scratch. So she reads book 1 and is like, "Okay, wow, this is like really weird. Like this, like great, but oh my God." She finds Verity's manuscript for her autobiography. And she's like, "Oh, well, in order to write from an author's perspective, I kind of need to know the mind and life of the author." So she decides she's gonna read it. Oh, and where she's staying is downstairs in the master bedroom. You know, like where Jeremy and Verity used to like fuck. And there's like bite marks all on the headboard, and Lowen just looks at Jeremy like, how awkward is that? She also gets to meet Verity in a sense because Verity can't really say anything or any wave or anything. She begins reading. And it tells of how Verity met Jeremy at like this like party for rich people that she like snuck into, and she was like trying to seduce rich men, and Jeremy was like all about it. They got in a limousine, and then it was history. They had sex and it was great, and so like they started dating and then they got married. And Lowen's like, yeah, I mean, if I didn't think sex with him was already gonna be great, like, it's great. Like, and now she's fantasizing about this married man in his house with his 5-year-old son and the woman that's like half comatose upstairs. And so as Lowen's writing, she's hanging out with Jeremy and crew the entire time, getting to know them, and she's like fangirling hard over Jeremy. And the nurse that takes care of Verity, April, is like, bitch, you ain't slick. I see you. I see him. 2 + 2 = 4. But then she reads more in the manuscript, right? And so she talks about how they're having incredible sex and they're in love, which is all fine and great, except it also talks about their wedding night and how she was happy, they're married, this is great. But it also turned into the night, their wedding night turned into the night they conceived. And then it all went downhill because when she found out she was pregnant, Jeremy was like head over heels like about the baby, and she's like, this thing's going to make me fat. It's going to ruin my body. He'll never, like, he loves it more than me, and it's an it. He keeps calling it her and she, and it's an it. And I'm like, oh my God. She finds out they're twins. She's like, I can't, he loves them more than me. This is disgusting. Meh. And so then this part hurts because she literally writes about how she tried to abort them with a clothes hanger. It's actually kind of sickening. And I feel like that's what makes it like really good writing. So Lowen, of course, is also having the same reaction. She's like, oh my God, this woman in this house is like psychotic. She's obsessed with Jeremy. Like, she's a psychopath. She's also freaking out because crew is running around telling her like, mommy said I can't talk to you. And she thought she saw her move. There shouldn't be anything in Verity's room that can move because Verity can't move. This manuscript is just getting worse and worse and worse. Then they have twin girls, Chastin and Harper, and she ends up falling in love, like actually acts like a mom towards Chastin or Chastine, whatever. But she still hates Harper. And it turns out Harper has Asperger's, and so she doesn't express emotion in the same way, and so it becomes a whole big deal. Chastin ends up dying because she has a peanut allergy. She's like convinced Harper did it. Now she hates Harper even more. Anyway, on the side note, Jeremy and Lowen end up kissing and getting pretty close to something else until Lowen sees Verity at the top of the staircase. But Verity can't move, so how did she get there, you might be asking. Yeah, I would be asking that too. I was losing my mind. This is such a good book, you guys. Here's the thing, Lowen's not buying any of this, and so she like says a few choice words to Verity, and is like, I know you're faking it. I know it. And I'm gonna sleep with your husband tonight. Lowen and Jeremy like get together, and then the next morning, the door is locked from the outside. More progresses, but basically in Verity's manuscript, she talks about how she tried to kill Harper multiple times. We get to the part of the book where shit gets real. She finished this whole manuscript at this point. Verity confesses to everything, trying to kill Harper and like never having wanted them, being super upset with Jeremy for even like being attached to anyone other than her. Verity moves and like starts talking. So Jeremy literally like shoves his finger down her throat, makes her vomit, and she chokes on it, and then ta-da, she's dead. 7 months later, Lowen is pregnant with Jeremy's baby. They're back at the old house. They bought a different house because obviously they don't want their life in the same house that they had Verity's life and Jeremy were together. That wasn't English, but that's fine. Crew runs upstairs because he has to get some pictures that he drew for his mom. And so he comes down and he's like, yeah, these were from the floorboards. That's where I kept them. Lowen's like, WTF, kid? So she goes up to Verity's room and she finds a letter. And this letter is written to Jeremy, basically saying, it starts off with I'm sorry. The whole letter makes the manuscript a lie. Basically what the letter is saying is that whole manuscript is fake. It's not the truth. It's a lie. So now pregnant Lowen is reading this after having helped Jeremy kill Verity, is reading this and is like, I don't know what to believe. How it ends is Jeremy knocks on the door and is like, Lowen, you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. Meanwhile, she like ripped up the letter and ate some of it, which is not good for the baby, I feel like, because it's not good for a person. So she like flushes half of it, eats half of it, because she doesn't want Jeremy to feel any guiltier than he probably does about killing Verity. So she's like, he never knows about this. And that is how the book ends. Cover design is going to get a 4.75. I don't really know what's happening, but I love it, and I don't know, it's just really aesthetically pleasing. It's a 4.75. Characters are a 5 out of 5. You really get to know Lowen, and she's like a good person, but then she like is willing to have sex with Jeremy even though he's married and she knows it. She's like bad because she also helps murder Jeremy's wife, Verity. And Jeremy's like hot, and we love a hot guy. I don't know about Verity because it's so hard. You get the manuscript and then you get her letter, and it's like, which one is real? Because she didn't get a chance to explain herself. And also, would you believe her if she did? Plot is a 5 out of 5. Because this story is so wild. It is so engaging. Like, it's such a good book. And now I wish I had the hard copy because it can't go in the bookshelf. And I'm like anal like that. Like, I need it to go on the bookshelf. So am I going to buy it? Really can't say, but most likely I already did. The ending is a 5 out of 5 because where you think it ends is when Lowen and Jeremy kill Verity. And you're like, all right, that's where it ends. They probably end up together. Whatever. It's not. Because then she finds that letter and it's like a whole nother like, poof, you have no idea. And we still don't know. Book drop is also a 5 out of 5. It could be like two things. It could be when Lowen realizes that Verity is not actually stuck to her bed. Like Verity can move and is lying, or it's at the end when you find out this whole, it's most likely the letter. If we're being real, it's the letter moment, which is at the end when she like says everything is a lie and you're like, oh my God, but seriously, like what? The book, it's just, it... Which gives Verity by Colleen Hoover a 4.95 out of 5. It is amazing. There's so much that happens. It is so good. And reading it is an experience in and of itself. You have to do it. And those are my intoxicated thoughts. That's the end of my wine. Stay tuned until next month because I'm going to do these monthly now because I have a podcast called Bookishly Lit. Check it out. This is the Boozy Bookworm. Otherwise, my friends, stay boozy.